You know what she does to me, right?
Yeah.
But you don't have to talk. That's the difference. What she does to you, you guys just sit there and bathe it. I have to think now.
Let God speak. There we go.
Always. You know, it's so synchronistic. This morning in my own meditation, I was saying I was just really into movement this morning. Well, duh. I was just in that place with you already. And that, all your arm movements, it's like that's where I was. Already hooking up. Love it. And I love it when you guys get to be together. The way it works. All right, so what I'm going to do today is I'm going to go back and take the last 2 weeks, and I'm going to invite you to merge them all together in your mind. So that means I have to say a little bit about it because you weren't all here. 2 weeks ago, Reverend Mary LeKay spoke, and her topic was expanding the perimeter of possibilities. And she held in her hand, I tried to get one, but mine wouldn't cooperate in a circle. She held a cord in her hand. And she reminded us that if this cord represented us and our consciousness, the edges of our consciousness, can you see the circle? Can you see the cord? The edges of our consciousness, which you could say were inside it, the edges touched the infinite. It was such a great reminder to remember that when we say that we are part of the infinite, our consciousness literally touches the whole of it, yes? But what happens as humans is that we see ourselves, well, sometimes like this. We see ourselves as this little tiny thing. The good news, she reminded us, I'm paraphrasing, of course, everything she said and everything that I got from it, is that every time we wake up, every time we learn, we study, we meditate, we feel the presence, we are expanding our consciousness. So we are thereby expanding our perimeter of what's possible. And if you can visualize that your consciousness is touching the perimeter and everything that you do to grow that. Now look, the surface of your perimeter is now touching more of the infinite. The bigger you can make your idea of possibility, the more you're touching. And you see, that's the way it keeps growing, because you're touching more of the infinite. Now don't make this line a hard line. All right? Don't make this circle a hard line. It's just a very soft, fuzzy thing. And we're just in it. But it helps us. We need concrete pictures to help us humans. All right, so the idea of expanding our perimeter of possibilities is what Reverend Mary talked about. Then last week, I talked about using our difficulties to wake us up. Rather than coming into a philosophy like this, and this philosophy says, you do your affirmations, you do your spiritual mind treatment, which is our affirmative prayer, you practice this thing, you don't look at what you don't want, and then why am I still having these difficulties? All right, and I chose last week not to call them opportunities, because that was feeling like spiritual bypassing what I meant. We all have hard times. So what? If we try to bury our head in the sand, it doesn't help anything. We just stay in the dark. So I was suggesting that we take each difficulty that we have and we face it square on and we go, you know what? This right now, caca, doesn't feel so good, right? I could say a few other words, but we're being recorded. I like it when you fill in your own blanks. That we do have it, and so just say, yep, I'm having a really tough time. I, for one, do not like it when my colleagues do the little pontificating back to me. I've never enjoyed that at all. It's like, well, you know, if you just think right. I know, I teach it. But I don't do it that way to you, because I don't want anybody to ever go home feeling less than or guilty or judging themselves. As a matter of fact, I want you to do the complete opposite. So just look and say, yeah, this feels difficult. Now what am I going to do about it? I have a choice. I can wallow in that difficulty, or I can use it to wake up. And that was the whole point. Let's admit the difficulty. Let's admit that something's difficult right now, and then go, all right, I'm going to use this to expand my perimeter of possibility. I'm going to use this to wake myself up. And wake myself up to what? Our true nature. Our true identity as spiritual beings. Now I want to say one little thing that was sparked by what Margaret was saying. And we're talking about when we love our own heart. I don't know what was the line?
At the moment you serve your own heart.
Thank you. At the moment you serve your own heart. Let me make a distinction here, because some people, especially if you're new, have a little bit of a struggle with the idea of the word self or my own. Because if you come from a background that says honoring yourself is somehow blasphemous, what we're talking about in this philosophy, when we're serving our own heart, when we're talking about ourself, we're talking about the God self. We're not talking about necessarily the ego human. We're not aggrandizing our accomplishments. We're not saying, look at me, I'm so great. We're saying, look at God in me. Isn't that amazing? So I wanted to make that distinction when we say the word self, of what we're talking about. Not just the little ego-limited parts of us that might struggle, but the big, magnificent, glorious God self is what we're talking about. And so today, this whole idea of allowing, for me, first starts with this idea of knowing that Spirit already knows everything. Knows everything, not like Santa Claus knows everything. That's not the kind of knowing we're talking about. I'm going to let that sink in for a minute. Right? Santa Claus, he knows if you've been good or bad, right? Keeping a checklist. It's not the kind of knowing that we're speaking about in this philosophy. We're talking about possibilities, potentialities of all knowledge and all intelligence. I don't want anybody going home with thinking of that God with the checklist as seeing when you're bad or good. God's going to get you. Right? Wrong. Right? Wrong. So, the idea of an all-knowing really for me means an infinite intelligence. It's really important to remember the difference. This infinite intelligence already contains within it all potentiality. So here we are living a human life, and it really doesn't matter whether we're talking about our money, our jobs, our relationships, our health, our inner peace. It doesn't matter which thing that we are working on at any given time. The potential for having the best of all those things, relationships, health, money, peace of mind, the potential already exists in the divine mind. Everything is already available, and we must allow it. Let me tell you a few words from Ernest Holmes. He says, while it is true that we are immersed in this infinite intelligence, a mind, capital M, another word for God, a mind that knows all things, it is also true that this intelligence can acquaint us with its ideas only as we are available and willing to receive them. We're not puppets. The divine mind is infinite. It contains all knowledge and wisdom, but before it can reveal its secrets, it must have an outlet. This outlet we shall be compelled to supply through our own receptive mentalities. So that really says it. There's this one infinite intelligence, but it's not going to force itself upon us. We must allow that to happen. Something within us and something around us knows always what to do. Something does, but we have to let that knowing in. So any time I feel like, okay, I need an answer here, the only place to begin for that answer is within. I might feel that it's right here. Sometimes it helps. Again, we are concrete, tangible beings. Sometimes I may see that, okay, the answer is swirling around me, but I haven't yet let it in. Am I ready to let it in? I'm ready now. Because up until the point of readiness, we struggle, we fight. Right now I'm ready to let it in. It's right here around me, it's right here within me, but I have to supply the avenue. I have to supply the outlet. And I'm using the word allowing today, very, very intentional, rather than making it happen. This philosophy does put a lot of emphasis on choose your thoughts. You decide what you want. Yes, choose it. But making it happen is a very different vibration, don't you feel?
Yes.
Making it happen feels like, I gotta work hard, I gotta push hard, I gotta make something happen. It feels limited, it feels scary, it feels not as good as I'm gonna allow. So the word allowing is very, very intentional. For me, it helps me to relax. It helps me to trust. And yes, to tap in with what Mary Sampson said, helps us to surrender.